The name Allannah is not my birth name. It's like a nickname in Irish language. It means sweetheart or loved one or dear or honey. So it was a term of endearment that the family used to call me, and I sort of liked that name, so I adopted it when I started doing the readings about 15-20 years ago. I was born in the north of England in 1947. I was a strange child. My mother always said I was kind of odd. I had odd ways. I'm still a bit odd. I knew a lot about psychic ability and mediumship because my grandmother was able to read cards, and she was a fantastic clairvoyant. I knew I could tell things about people, I could sort of sense them. And so it caused some problems early on in life because I kind of didn't know why I was sensing and feeling these things. I started off doing healing, and then I realised that there was a lot of spirits that were around me helping me, and then gradually that I started doing messages, as they call it there, from the platform. My mum was very intuitive and psychic, but she had a very difficult life. She knew she sensed it, but she shut it down, and I think I copied her. I kind of shut it down. I used to pray a lot and feel there were angels around me. I felt the angels were there and they were helping me and protecting me, as they still do. You see, for years I didn't work as a medium or a psychic. I worked as a hairdresser and I had my own business here. The first time that I went to a spiritualist church in my hometown with some girls from work, and the medium on the platform called me out, actually for being disrespectful, because I was kind of giggling. They said, one day you will work from the rostrum, and I didn't know what a rostrum was. And it ended up that I did. So that was the first time I was told directly that I would do this sort of work. I didn't believe it at the time. I was still young and trying to find my way. I loved reading, and it seemed natural for me to start writing things down that my spirit guides were telling me. Then they said, you won't be able to do the readings forever, and we would like to get some messages out to the world to help people. All of this is just to help others. It's not to do with anything about me. Then they said that they would like me to start writing, and I did, and it's been wonderful. I write in longhand, I channel, and then put it in book form. In Lilydale, it's a spiritual community 1 hour south of Buffalo. I met up with an amazing woman. She's a miracle worker, a visionary. I was quite sick then, actually. I didn't realise it. She gave me a healing on the spot, and I had just this amazing experience. So I wasn't doing readings then. I had my own hair salon, working very hard, sometimes 60, 70 hours a week. I'd got very run down. So I saw this bright light around her, and I started channeling, which I've never done on the spot. And then we talked and we've become friends. So that's been probably one of the most life-changing events in my life. I have a special prayer that's in my book that I use before I start. And then there's a prayer that I use when I finish. That's very important, that you open up to the spirit world, then you close down. You can't be wide open all day because you can get tired. But I'm always protected, but I do open up. And then if I want to ask spirit a question, I'll do my prayers. I just go into another state. I'd open it and close it down. It's very simple. That's the way I do it. It's better for me that way. I've had to be closed down because I was bombarded when I was younger. I think that affected my mum too. She didn't know how to close down, you see. So for me, it's been very helpful. The mornings is the most sacred time for me because I get up very early. Sometimes I usually have some tea, and then I meditate, and then I start to write for about an hour or so, sometimes longer. Meditation takes a while, and that's my morning. I'm lucky to be able to do it. Preparation is very important. I find that I prefer to work in the morning, that way I can get up early, do my channeling and meditation, then I take my shower, put all clean clothes on. It's like going to church. It's like you're prepared to work with spirit, to connect with God, to connect with Blessed Mother, whoever wants to come through. It's just like you were getting ready to go to church. My room has to be clean and blessed. I have to prepare it in a certain way. So there is preparation. That's my way, but you don't mean to say that people do it a different way, but that's the way I do it. When I'm meditating alone, there's quite a few different guides that come in. I've mentioned some of them in my book. They help me, and they're very loving spiritual beings. When I'm doing the readings with people, the first thing I try and connect with their own loved ones. That's what most people want. Their guides are teachers. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So then I just use my own psychic ability to help them in their lives. I'm using my own guides because it has to come from a higher purpose. A lot of times they're having their own earthly problems here, with job, with relationships, with finances, with children. Most people that come to readers, they're looking for some answers. They're just often stuck in bad situations. When people come with very serious problems and they're very hurt, often somebody from their loved ones will come through to comfort them, to give them a message of hope, or what they feel from the other side, what's going to happen, what the lesson is that they're going through. So oftentimes I call somebody from their loved ones to come and help because it's very difficult. And my own guides will come in with advice too. And I just go into an altered state so that I'm not too overwhelmed with their pain. But I am an empath too, and it is difficult for me. Over the years, I've trained many people to do this. I've had groups in my home, I've worked in the churches, and it's very easy because we come from God, so we're always connected. It's just connecting to the divine. And sitting in a group with like-minded people, to me, is the best way to do it. Praying together and asking for information, and often people will learn very quickly that they can connect with the other side and connect with God and connect with the saints and the angels. There's many, many, many different ways of doing it. There's no one reality. There's not just one way. People will find their own way. There's no hard and fast rule. That's one thing. I've learned that. Everybody connects with the other side or does the spiritual path a different way, and I can learn from them too, and I do. That's why when I travel the world, I've met lots of interesting people and interesting ways of doing it, learning. They often address world events that happened, and they'll give their take on what they got on the different events, on the storms, on the floods, on the world, whatever was happening. They will often give me a spiritual reason for this happening, or why it's happening, or what they feel is going to happen. It's just a different way of looking at it. We see it from one way and they see it from another way, you see. It's very interesting. Some of the ones that come through all the time, they are teachers, and that's their role on the other side, to bring information and knowledge through me and hundreds of others, because they feel that humanity has sort of lost the way with spirituality. Materialism and many other distractions have sort of got in the way. They try to say just go back to the simple way of connecting with God and praying and asking for help, and it's so much better than stressing out over everything. These books are very interesting. I find it helps me a lot, so I hope it helps others. One thing that comes to mind is Spirit has told us all religions lead to God. We can be born whatever, Buddhist, Muslim, Christian. If you pray for understanding, that's the most important thing. Not to just trust in the world, but you have to ask for guidance. Everyone has their own spirit guides around them, plus their loved ones, and they will help you, but you must ask. They're not allowed to do it for you. So prayer and meditation is very important. Ask for guidance, ask for help, and the doors will open for you, and you will see things will get better. There's different channelings in my book, different spirit guides that come through. Some of the channel is just one time. Somebody has been waiting to give a message out. They feel they've got something to say. Mostly my own spirit guides came through, and different ones crossed over. They want to give a little message. There's always a gatekeeper that decides who's coming through. I have a lot of protection, and some of my guides, they've lived many lives, and it's an exchange of energy. My first book is Allannah's Little Book of the Spirits. My second book is Let the Spirit Speak. And the third book is The Gifts of the Spirits. And number 4 will be a book about healing and help from the spirit world. I've had miraculous healings and cures, unbelievable, and Spirit wants me to write about it so that it will help others, you see. People go in a very dark place when they find out they've got some sort of an incurable illness, but there's often a way out or a way to make it better. I would like to just write down what happened in my own life and how I got helped, in the hope that it will help others. And maybe other messages will be in there. We'll see. I'm sure it'll be interesting. I think the future looks great for me because I'm living in a fantastic country, which my family's doing great. They're healthy, thank God. I've got good friends, good support system, so I'm one of the lucky ones, you see. I have my children and grandchildren around me, and so for me, I've had a little, a bit of an upset, but I've had a miraculous healing. So I think the future looks great for me. Personally, I'm one of the lucky ones. There's so many. That's why I write it in a book. All my life I've had amazing things happen to me. I've met amazing people, and I see that this world is fantastic. People get stuck. Don't block it all out. That's not the way to connect. Read my books. There's lots of stories in there and lots of information from another source. I wish everybody peace, the peace that Jesus talks about, the peace that passes all understanding. If you have peace and you have faith, you can get through anything, you see. If I didn't have faith in a higher power, in another world, in another way, I don't think I could have gone through my life. I wish that all people would have faith and trust in God, and that they would find their physical and their emotional needs met.